Okay.
Okay, welcome to the NEVAC Fest. The most amazing and wonderful stuff is on display and for sale here. And one of the items that is rather a little unusual is a German Enigma machine from World War II, genuine and actually functional. You can see the light bulbs go on when you press the buttons, and this machine is available for a mere $345,000, even though I've got it marked a little higher. Over on the left here is a American World War II spy radio in a suitcase. It has a little telegraph key on it, and it's a complete radio for sending messages, and the spies would actually, it's small enough, they would bake it inside a loaf of bread, which is quite amazing. Over here we have a Russian tank driver's helmet. And you'll notice that it has padding on top, because when you're in a tank and bouncing around, you're liable to hit your head. And it also has night vision goggles, so the driver can see very dimly illuminated objects at night. And that's sitting there for sale. And the next thing over here is a original, probably the first CB radio ever made. It is crystal controlled, transmit and receive, has volume and squelch control. It works on 110, 6 and 12 volts, and it has a manual, but the manual does not show the maker's name, because RCA did not want, for some reason, people to know that they were making CB radios at that point. And then, of course, no show is complete without a Ouija board. If you're going to communicate, as most of these devices are, for picking up signals from other radios, you might as well communicate with the outer space or whatever Ouija boards communicate with.
No batteries or electricity required.
No batteries, right.
Just your mind.
Yeah. And if you want to really get angry with your computer, you can start shooting at it, and this is a hard drive that has been shot at with a .22 long rifle and a 9mm German Luger and a .357 Magnum pistol. And you know a .357 is a powerful pistol. It'll go through the engine block of a car, but it won't go through a hard disk. And the probable reason for that is that the disk itself is laminated out of so many layers it acts like a bulletproof vest.
Well, you know, what happens is when, Tom has worked on an Enigma long enough, he takes it out on the hard drive.
That's it. Okay. He went.
Well, we can just...
Let me just see if I see. Oh, here he is. He's coming.
Oh, okay. We are just, and just as a little backdrop here, we're going to be looking at some nice, interesting spy radios.
Sorry, didn't mean to take you away from the freebie table.
Just a couple of cables I saw in a box.
This is one of the tables that has incredibly wonderful things hidden away, and we'll get the owner of these things to tell us a little bit about them.
Hi, I'm John WS1K. I come from Plymouth, Massachusetts. First here I have part of a GRC 109 kit, which was used in primarily, I believe, the Vietnam War. It's a power supply and a receiver. Normally comes with a transmitter as well, but I'm only offering these here today.
And this was used as a spy radio primarily, right? They would take it into
Correct.
the field and set it up, and spies would communicate back with the base with a radio like this. And this is the kind of miniaturization that was typical at that time.
But it's very heavy.
Yeah,
Heavy
weight
set.
was not a problem. Those guys were strong.
And totally weatherproof as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that they were actually buried in the jungle for later use,
Right.
hidden
and
away.
They sealed down with waterproof seals.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
This
Here's a newer radio. This is a Zygu X6100. It's a portable radio QRP transceiver, 160 through 6 meters, totally self-contained, 4-inch full color waterfall screen, so you can watch for signals. battery built in, antenna tuner built in, totally portable. Kind of what's available now, miniaturized.
And what do they sell for?
They sell, I believe they retail around $600.
Uh-huh.
That's what they go for. Yeah.
A lot of radio in a tiny package.
Yeah, it's
Sure
pretty
is.
impressive.
This is something spectacular.
Yeah, this here is a what's known as a GPO receiver, or a tester WL53400. It was built by the General Post Office of Great Britain around 1939 as a radio direction finder, totally portable. It covered from the VLF band up to about 30 megahertz, 28 megahertz. This is the insides. Back then, you can see the miniature tubes that we used. Battery operated, and it was designed for basically street level direction finding of spy transmitters. There would be a central location where they would direction find and listen for signals emanating from wherever in country, and they would send these to the street level to go through the neighborhoods looking for the spy transmitters. You can see the lid of the radio is actually the band coils, and there is a set of 10 of them.
Okay.
And this is the original case that it came in, and the headset as well.
So you walk around with that thing looking for a spy radio setup, and you turn the thing so that the antenna lined up with the spy radio transmitter, and that would show up on the meter on the set.
Right.
And then you'd know you were pointing right at where the spy was, and if you walked over to another location and got another bearing, you could get a cross bearing exactly pinpointing where the spy was located. Is that about right?
Correct.
Yeah,
And
okay.
and it's bi-directional.
Oh, okay.
It's bi-directional as well. So you had you had two choices.
Yeah, right.
You had two choices.
You had to walk over to another location to
Right.
get the crossing.
Yep.
This is a very, very extraordinary historic radio.
This is a replica of a Paraset, which was a transceiver that covered around 3 megahertz to about 8 megahertz. It's a regenerative receiver, crystal controlled transmitter, metal tubes so that no light emitted. It also had a power supply or a battery operation. These were dropped behind lines. A lot of them were used in Norway, I believe, in France, with the partisans that were operating there. This replica was built by my friend Jim, NM1F, who's not here right now. But this is the second. This was the first one that he built. He's built two of them. He built one for me and one for another friend. I do have a power supply for it. Now, I'm waiting for a key. There was a key built into this transceiver, so that there was nothing else to bring with it other than the power supply or the battery. There's a really good book about this called "Two Eggs on My Plate," and it's about a Norwegian partisan who escaped to England, was trained, and sent back to Norway with one of these radios, was dropped in. And it's a very interesting book if you're into clandestine operations.
And obviously, the reason it's called a Paraset is because it was designed to be dropped by parachute.
Along with the
operator.
operator. They will both drop behind enemy lines.
And what's this beautiful thing?
This is a Delaney Autodot bug. It was
interesting.
manufactured by the PB Delaney PB Delaney Transmitter, I believe, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
Transmitter Company?
Right.
And I believe I found an ad that advertises it for 1906. So this appears to be maybe an earlier version. There are several others out there on the internet where the hardware is rounded and they have serial numbers. There is no serial number and the hardware is squared off. But it does have the Delaney cloverleaf, and someone along the line named Andy scratched his name into it.
And the reason it is designed to look like this is that they had to work their way around the Vibroplex patent. Vibroplex had a very tight patent on all semi-automatic bugs, and so they had this weird little action here so that they wouldn't infringe on the Vibraplex patent. If you infringed on the Vibraplex patent, they would go after you big time, and you could not only lose all your equipment but lose a big fine. So you had to be really careful when you build a telegraph key in those days if you're going to have it anything like a Vibraplex, to have it be technically very different. So it's a very rare and beautiful key. Are you selling it?
I haven't decided what to do with it yet.
Hint, hint.
I've had a few people ask me if it was for sale, but I wouldn't even know what to ask for it.
It's
so.
hard to put a price on something as rare as that because it may be one of the very few in existence.
And
How interesting.
this is a set that was built by Jim and M1F. This is a Fillmore transmitter, novice transmitter. It did have a matching receiver. He's built another full set before. He's actually has an original set, but he's built another replica before. This is an original power supply, but this is the transmitter that he just built. He's a pretty prolific builder. He loves doing this kind of stuff.
A lot of hams started out with that set. It's got a 6L6 output tube, so it puts out about 30 watts or so, if I remember correctly. And I built one as a ham, and the nice thing about it is crystal controlled, so if you have a novice license, you were only allowed to use one crystal in your transmitter, and that was a typical set that people would use in the 50s for a ham transmitter. I've got to go back to my table for a second.
Sure.
I'll
to wander.
I'll be right with
Sure.
Can you turn it off, or do you have to keep going?
I'll keep going, but I can run down some of the things. I'll
Go
circle
ahead
back to
and
you.
do it. Yeah.
All right, but thank you.
Okay,
This is great.
thank you.
We have a variety of parts and other supplies for people who are looking to restore their radios or whether they're vintage electronics. This vendor's been here for years, as far as I can recall. And we have a nice National, I think. And moving along. We have a wide variety of things here, for people to consider. And let's see, moving right along here, we got just a few little variety of vintage electronics, various parts. And moving right along here as I move down, looking ahead, let's see what we got here. Hi, we're just I'm just doing a little video here. Oh, that's quite all right. Oh, it's a KLH. Got some sort of a drill. You never know what you find here when you come to these events, what people will be selling. And we have a wide variety of parts being unloaded as we speak. What we have here is this kind of interesting for people to have a look at. And it's Miller time. I see the Miller clock back there. That's classic. Does that light up?
I did. I don't know. I even had it on there. I forget how long.
That's
Yeah, I
pretty
don't know if
funny
I got
though.
them all.
That's fun. Oh, here's a
yeah.
nice RCA Radiola 28. Moving right along here, we have all sorts of interesting pieces for people to have a look at. This Leeds and Northrop Bridge ohm meter.
It's pretty amazing that ohm meters can now be held in your hand, and devices like that were a little more accurate, I would say, but maybe not all that much more accurate.
Hard to carry around as a portable device, but it does have a case, and you just don't mind hauling around maybe 10 or 15 pounds.
Yes.
Hey, you want me to help you unload this crap?
Maybe we'll do a circle back down, and then we'll go up and Oh, have a wide variety of like transceivers
too.
worth, yeah.
Vintage radios on top there. And,
Yes, indeed.
impedance bridge.
Got our receivers. You can see we have the one theme we can say about this show is we have a really good turnout. So do bear with us as we walk around, people. But I think everyone get a good sense of what's available here. Just the number of people milling around in this fall day is very impressive. Oh, and here we have Adrian. You know, Adrian's been one of these long-time club members. He has we've got vintage calculators. I see Texas Instruments. I see a TI-50A, somewhat lesser version here, and then I see a Casio.
Program cards.
Program cards. Oh, sure. So if anyone, oh, look at the SR-52. I think that's my dad had one of those, if memory serves.
And don't forget the wonderful food that
Well,
they have.
that's
here,
right.
too.
Well, that is a vintage 50s era breakfast sandwich, remarkably well preserved.
Yes, remarkable. Remember, we went to the moon on one of them.
That's true. It is impressive. Thank you, Adrian. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too. Tom, your Friedrichshafen thing was good.
Oh yeah, you like the Friedrichshafen. Here's an unusual piece. And here's a neutral wound. Very sort of those early breadboard, except it's all metal.
But I do know this.
If this looks all complete from what I can see.
The stuff I got.
Impressive amount of metal on this thing. This is probably one of those 40 or 50 pounders.
It's like a cycle.
Vintage early radios. These Screams marked vests. And now we get into some of the more modern stuff. We have modern electronics. We've got Sony portables and all sorts of hi-fi gear for your pleasure here. Nice Kenwood. Yeah, thanks. And of course, for those who want vinyl, plenty of vinyl. And look at this. We have something from, is that World War II, Tom, do you say?
No, actually, that is a battery charger.
Oh.
And if you look inside it, you'll see that it's a very early battery charger. It has a great big transformer over there and a mercury rectifier too.
Interesting.
In order to change the AC to DC. And you have charge just like a normal charger.
Oh,
you have a plug-in and clip-on leads, but it's a very early set. And,
yours for the low price of $5.
Yeah, they did not have solid-state rectifiers in those days, so you had to use a tube like that. And those tubes with mercury in them are hard to dispose of nowadays because they are considered to be hazardous material.
And we got a variety of vinyl, books, chassis needing some new home. You name it, it's out there. So moving right along, go down the next aisle. Moving right along, we'll go down to the next aisle on the tailgaters. And of course, we'll be passing by Tom's Enigma stand yet again, as we all, and Tom is a stalwart. He's been here, every time I'm here, he's in the exact spot. So, you know, if you're, don't mind the breeze, folks. Oh, Tom was attacked by his sign. A little bit of a strong wind today. Former President Howard. I see you're empty-handed, Howard. Why are you empty-handed?
Because I very quickly emptied my hands into the vehicle, and now I'm looking for something else to put in my hands.
Well, that's actually good news then. I would say a great turnout. Would you agree?
Yes, very great turnout. Wonderful turnout.
Probably one of the best I've seen in fall Brookline.
Yes. In a while, anyway.
Anyway, oh, Larry Sendry, current president, but will be former president as of the year's end. But Larry, I'd say this is a great show.
Well,
Lots good attendance.
it's not me. It's guys like Roger and Al and Jeanette. Guys like Jeanette, you know, and Paul Dumont that make this happen. And of course, everybody who comes.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent event. Excellent event. Well, thanks for your time, Larry. And don't forget to vote.
Yeah, I just put my ballot in actually.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, John.
Moving right along here, this is Bill Dunn's table. And we've got a nice Nordmenda Stradala portable. These were popular in the, I'd say, probably in the early mid 60s. Nice radio, actually in very nice shape too, and it's I think only about $15. Nice variety of older radios. Here's a Grundig knockoff from the 90s. They're actually one of the nicer ones. Nice realistic tape deck. Don't mind the bargaining behind us.
I know, I think that's a good price. It's got the cords in the back. Are you filming this?
I am. Bill, you are in candid camera. So we'll catch every little moment. And we have, this must be Merrill's table here with some interesting early radios. We'll get a little bit close up here. And here's a Penna Wireless Manufacturing Company in Pennsylvania, I guess. And then here's another one. Some very interesting stuff that Merrill has. And here's Paul's table and Don Elliott's. This very nice Grundig receiver. This you need to add speakers to, but these were nice early 60s high-end from Grundig. And we have a variety of, we have a couple of Philcos here waiting to find a new home. What else is coming by here? We have this absolutely outstanding Philips from the, I'd say, the early 60s, early to mid 60s. These gentlemen do very nice work in restoration, including this nice GE radio that's been restored. Look at the woodwork here, well worth it.
It's very nice. I have one, not as good condition. What I'm looking for is they made, I can't remember what they called it, All American or something.
Yes.
Where it's got red, white, and blue in front. I saw one once and I didn't know anything about it.
It's a military release.
Should have.
Hello, Paul. Say hi to the camera. No, he's running away.
The FBI's looking for me.
That's all right. That's right. Yeah, if anyone go to the post office to see these two gentlemen, you know, there's a reward. This is a very nice Zenith with a Telectron clock from Hampshire, Massachusetts. It's very nice Crosley. One of my favorites personally. Very aesthetically pleasing. Beautifully done. And moving on ahead, we have this very nice componentized phonograph with some nice country music to go with it. And we got various modern receivers and various electronics here. And of course, if you're looking for an oven and a coffee pot, here's your chance. That's what vintage electronics are all about. And here we have a Bell & Howell camera. We have directionals for, it looks like a truck or a bus. Car radio. We have various other electronics, all modern, portable stereo boom boxes and so forth. And we have lots of tubes. If you need tubes, another gentleman is besides this table is Thomas Carpelli. And here we are with some very nice. Oh, that's quite all right, Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hello, how are you?
Good. And this is a nice silver tone.
So he said just use
I'm seeing this TL. Another silver tone from 1942. Very nice. And a tube tester. Zenith. And here is Ross's table with all sorts of chassis needing various love from probably German radios. Given the complexity, it's assuredly a German radio. And of course, Ross being German. Hello, Ross. Yep, you're back on, whether you like it or not.
Are you recording?
We are being recorded, so
So don't do anything obscene.
do anything. Well, you know, it's going on YouTube. You know, there's a whole, you get the whole gamut on YouTube. So don't feel too
Did you say
inhibited.
Grundig?
Could you?
Grundig, model 97.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I was pointing out all these chassis needing love.
They need more than love. They need a crafty person with a soldering iron.
Now, I wouldn't surprise me. Were you the one that dropped off all those dial faces on the free table? I was going to say, I'm looking at it and I said, that's screaming Ross. Lots of consoles.
That's the sad part about it, is those all came from scavenged or scrapped consoles. The unfortunate reality is some of those consoles got scrapped because mice got into them. Number one enemy of radios is mice.
Yeah.
Being left out anyhow, but that's where all those came from. That's half of the ones I had. I still have more of them now. But I'm hoping to find Transistor at some point.
Do the mice eat the insulation on the wire?
That's the reason for it. It's byproducts of digestive system.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as polite as possible.
Yes.
that cause all the damage.
Yeah.
Rust.
Yeah. That's right. You
I've
know.
restored a number of radios that were infested with mice. One of them was a Collins A390, and I ended up having to replace the wiring harness, replace the tube socket, took it completely apart, all the gears, did a complete restoration on it, and it still to this day works great. It's a great radio. The funny part about it is after doing all that work on it, when I went through and did the alignment, I didn't turn any of the tweaks more than a quarter turn. And that's not me, that's Colin. That's Colin.
Wow.
But what a great radio.
Cool.
But they do make a mess.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you, Ross.
You're welcome.
Always good to have you on. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
You see everybody is wearing a hat. It is chilly here. It's only barely, probably in the low 60s with a good breeze. So one of our cooler events, but that's okay. The turnout is good. And moving on, we have more tubes, and we have this neat Land Rover. Anyone who's into Land Rovers, I think it's Nell's Rover. And got a wide variety of tubes and various test equipment. And moving right along, we see this nice Bogan amplifier, I think, coming right up here. Yeah, exactly. And we have this interesting Fada portable that's actually rather attractive and actually has some hope. This here is really interesting. This is a military grade,
Yeah.
did you say?
Spare tubes for a military transmitter.
Yeah, look at all the necessary equipment to do the servicing.
Yeah. GRC 50.
There we
That's
go.
the designation for the transmitter.
Oh, that's great. You never know what you find in these swap meets.
VHF multi-channel overflex transmitter.
It looks like that set of spares could survive an atomic blast if it's in that cage. And it's completely padded. Yeah.
Of course, it's going to give us a hard
Yeah.
time.
Well, you know, military grade.
Leave it like that.
There you go. I'll put it in later.
Notice the padding all
Yeah.
over it. You could probably drop a bomb near it.
Well, you know, you got to remember, it had to be ready to go in the back of a truck or the back of a jeep
Yeah.
in those days. It was going to get bounced around the battlefield.
Yeah.
And it needed to come. No, you didn't want your spares being broken.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's a nice kit. It really, really is. It's one of the only ones I've seen.
Well, the nice thing is it's fully complete, tools and all.
Yep. Let's see if we can do this.
All right. Well, thank you. Let's see what else we got here? So moving right along, we have, well, let's see here. We got a tuner, we got a wide variety of earlier radios. This is Fred Eisman early radio. Oh,
Hi there.
Hi there. Don't mind me. We're just doing a little filming of all the different vendors here, so everyone gets a little bit of airtime for free. This Nutridyne, very interesting. Look at that.
Now down here you have something interesting. There's a telegraph key and a sounder and a relay over there. And over here you have a spark gap and a spark coil. And those are probably handmade from the 1915 to 18 period because
Wow.
spark was outlawed in 1920.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, interesting. This is really interesting. This is another Eisman.
How much are those sets on the bottom?
Well,
Give me a ballpark of what you're looking for.
probably 25 on the spark set. I thought these telegraph might have been a practice.
Yeah, it could be.
I do not know.
Yeah. But with that
110.
other stuff on it is a little weird.
Yeah.
Moving right ahead while Tom is doing a little bartering here.
I
And
always start at 25.
we have Zenith, we have some various portables here. Another TO. And hello there. Now I see it's warming up. Feeling a little bit better warming up.
It was nice for a while till the wind started blowing. But it's still better.
Yeah, no, it's been a tough one,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be a nice one.
Yeah, the sun feels great.
There's a helicopter. It almost looks like a toaster oven. Maybe it serves us both.
That's right.
And now let's see here. Is Tom's still working out his deal? The audience is all in a hush to find out whether he's going to come away with it. We don't know. But we will come back for another episode of Tom Buys Another Piece of Vintage Electronics. Moving right along here, we have some modern vintage electronics here. You know, some various portables. And, oh, Tom come away empty-handed. It looks promising.
No, I have to go back and measure it with a meter, see that the coil's okay.
Oh, okay, so it's still in the running.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a reel-to-reel, nice little portable Sony reel-to-reel. And a Heath kit.
And here is the famous John Terry.
There we go. Hello, John. Whether you like it or not, you are on video.
Well, hello there.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about...
Sarah.
Hello.
Terry.
Hi.
Glad to have you here, and maybe you could tell us a bit of some of the items you are going to be selling here, including
Well, we've got a number of early items down over here. Early capacitor. And this one is interesting in that it's cylindrical there and it's insulated there. I can't find a manufacturer on it.
What's the insulation? Just very thin little Bakelites?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't find
That's a very early variable
yeah,
capacitor.
it almost looks homemade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nicely done.
Except for this
This
part
is
up
another.
here.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And then you went from that to
That's relying on air as the insulation between the plates, whereas this one down here had Bakelite.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
this is
Yeah.
the these generally had
Thanks for your letter. That
plastic
meant a lot to me.
around
That
them.
was beautiful.
Yeah,
But
thank
that's
you.
what they look like inside.
Right.
Really,
How
really
interesting.
good of
Yes.
you to do
We're from
that.
Chelsea,
My
Massachusetts.
So
obituary.
sensitive and beautifully
How
done.
interesting.
My
Yeah, that's
obituary.
Murdoch,
Rush
and
Limbaugh stirred up some trouble.
this is a federal.
Yeah, several people wrote to me and they
Oh, nice.
was dancing on his grave. Yeah.
These
I
are
didn't like
RCAs.
Rush Limbaugh and it came through.
How
The
interesting.
question is, have you written yours yet?
There's some
Actually,
keys
I
here.
started
Even
off
something a
on
little
mine.
later.
Did you write
This
it?
is a
did. It's on
stylus
my-
gauge.
I wanted
How
my will
interesting.
into the-
Yeah.
A stylus gauge.
box. Yeah.
Good for you.
did.
We're both
And a
thinking
picture
along
too.
those lines.
You put your
You're
needle
still
there, and
relatively young. You're not 80
there's
yet.
two
I'm
spots for the
80.
needle, so there's two
in December.
Okay. So I'm
two
more
scales on it.
than
Yes.
84.
You ever hear
Instructions
from
as well.
Metzger?
How interesting.
No,
And the
no,
box.
no, no.
Wow, it's
In the
quite
box,
nice.
yes.
I should try to reconnect with him.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says-
But over here, some kind of cute little lead soldiers.
Yes, indeed. From what time would you say that these were made?
I don't know, what would you say is that they're probably in the
That's
40s,
World
30s?
War One, isn't it?
1910, I
So
would
could
say.
be as early as
1940.
1920.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
These
later.
are all First World War.
Yeah.
No, the Second World War.
No, first,
No, these are First
First
World.
World War.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
These are
definitely.
the teens.
They didn't have radios like that in the Second World
Yeah,
War.
you're
They were a
right.
little more advanced.
Yeah, these are all First World War.
How interesting.
I love this one.
Now I wish you had one with an Enigma operator. You could get a lot of money out of me for
Oh
that.
boy, yeah.
Bet.
I'll look for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably the first one to know.
But this is my latest project of publishing a set of reprints from the Radio Digest Illustrated. I found out that there were, like that's an AMRAD,
Now look at the detail.
wonderful detail in these illustrations.
Wow.
And then the text was on the opposite page, and I've had that retyped
By our own Jeanette, right?
by Jeanette, yes. And there's the Clap Eastham HRHC. These are all common sets.
Yeah, if you're a
Cutting
collector of
Washington
early
11.
sets or just an enthusiast, this is the book to get.
And the first 22 articles are like this. Just let that go. And then the rest of them are more continuous, like in a magazine.
How
But,
interesting.
These are all from about pre-25, 26. And the text has not been edited, so you're reading as if you're sitting there in 1922, what the enthusiast in 1922 would have seen.
Wow, that's great.
In order
This
to
is
get his radio working.
this is the perfect book for anyone who wants to get something in the early vintage radios. Wow, this is excellent.
So, anyway, I'm selling that. Hopefully, we'll get it printed by the end of the year, and they'll be selling for $29.95.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's quite fair.
$29.95, and well, let's see. I'm not sure where we'll be selling them. We'll be selling them at Beats anyway.
Oh, sure.
On my mailing list, you'll hear about it, and we'll probably put an ad on the forum, the Antique Radio forum as well.
So stay tuned, everybody, as John will announce the official availability of this, and I'm sure there'll be some people lining up to get this. Excellent. This is great. Really appreciate your overview. Some really interesting stuff. That's what makes coming to these NEVIC events so interesting, is that you have such great and unusual electronics. Oh, you bet. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day. Moving right along. Let's see here. We've got various parts and other bits, motors. We've got stuff. Another semi-free table here of stuff, various things, including modern wireless routers, things like that. And we have some test equipment stuff. We have some various. It's a Weston and other things. Yeah, it's really interesting. Here is a holster radio. Look at the size of this thing. This is an early radio. Look at the woodwork alone. And you come in here, you can get a look at you have the instructions, the guide, manual, if you will. And of course, is the inside. Oh, interesting. And here's quite an impressive collection of early Zenith transistor radios. Look at this. All in their boxes. Some of these look like they've never been used. But many of these have been restored, are ready to be used at any time. But really nice pieces here. And this spans over to some other ones here, including this color, which is not seen that often. Some other portables, varying types, Zenith, all Zenith. Here's a beautiful transoceanic 7000. This is the last of the great ones. This thing looks almost brand new. Really beautiful radio. And he's got more portables all around. So if you want portable radio, early vintage transistor radios, this is the table to come to. Moving right along here, a nice portable record player. Looks like stereo, GE. And of course, here's the Zenith, AM, FM, one of those common ones. And various vintage, more modern receivers. Some speakers, and here's a Bogan amplifier. Look at this thing. This has the tubes. This thing probably weighs in at a good 20 pounds or so. Rather uncommon, but that's the great thing about this event. You have all sorts of unusual items that show up. And here's a wide variety of vintage radios. Do look for the still ones, but we have a nice DeWalt like in the back. And I'm not sure what that is way in the back. You can't really see. But you have another Zenith TO, and I see a nice Crosley, that white one, and yeah, it's just some really nice stuff. And moving right along here, we have another Zenith portable, and auto lamp holder. Remember those when we used to go back to the car parts stores, and that's how you bought your light bulbs. And here's some interesting crystal sets. Take a look at this one. This one with the instructions, all the details right here. But it's a really neat stuff. You're into crystals. Here's a particularly uncommon one. And some microphones. Moving along. We have some speakers and we've got a Sony portable. Oh, hey gentlemen. Hey John. Hey Bob. You're back on video whether you like it or not.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Hello Bob. Bob's running for president. He's been a director, and Bob's out shopping around and talking. And so, John, what you got going on here? What do you got here?
Well, I sold a couple of 7-inch TVs.
Oh, I saw those boat anchors from last time.
Yeah, 1949 Motorola's. They put a handle on them. They call them portable. It's like putting a handle on a Mack truck. Calling that portable.
Exactly. Oh, this is great.
So good.
Well, the weather's warming up, so everyone's starting to defrost. You were an early one like I was, and I couldn't feel my fingers earlier, but now they've kind of de-iced, so now I can.
I got here a little after 6, believe it or not. It was chilly.
Yeah, really, they put the emphasis on the first day of fall, or early fall days, that's for sure. But perfect now.
Somebody told me the first couple of days of fall. I believe it this morning.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, John. It's always good to see you. You got some neat stuff, and we'll be heading back here a little later.
Alrighty.
some various portable radios and receivers. And here we have Roger's table here. And Roger always has a lot of interesting things. We got some Motorola's, GE's. We got a Thomas knockoff there, but those are actually respectable. We have some Emerson portables. And look at this unusual Zenith from 1948. It is AM/FM with the early FM band as well as the new one. Unusual set. Apparently works partially, but needs some